You can't replace part of the brain. Like, you
treat them the same.
A source of truth for the medtech industry.
Coexists with the province.
Robot understands things automatically.
Number one show in the medtech industry.
So Stryker got ahead of that and changed in the 90s, built $1 billion company that held up high, a lot of things.
State of MedTech with your host, Omar and Khatib.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We have the triumphant return of our good friend Joe Urban. Breaking news coming out from last week was that Joe Urban, formerly CEO of Akron Medical, was in the startup world, just took on a really exciting world, an exciting company. He is now the president for the knee division over at the exciting Zimmer Biomet, led by Ivan Tornos. Joe, it's so good to see you, man. Congratulations on the role. How do you feel?
Thanks, Omar. Super excited. I'm here in Warsaw, Indiana, working with the team. It's an exceptional team. We have some of the best minds in engineering, and I'm learning a ton. So just happy to be here, and it's just been a whirlwind week. I'm in week 2, and it's go time.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited. I like to look at these, like when leaders like yourself take the helm at new places, kind of like NFL or NBA trades. And so, Ivan's been on my radar for a while as a really exciting leader since he's taken over at Zimmer. They've done really well in their earnings, and more importantly, he has a really unique approach of he's not the founder of Zimmer, but he has very much founder-led strategies in the sense of how he's like storytelling to the market, to the street, using social media. You yourself did a lot of that, and having him recruit you over as like the president of their largest, I believe, at least from what I can see on the earnings, their largest division, a multi-billion-dollar division, is really exciting. So I guess the first question I want to ask you is that, post Akron, you really sort of built your brand in Silicon Valley, first at Akron. Prior to that, it was at Oris. So why did you decide to go to Zimmer of all the places that you could have gone?
It's a great question. I've known Ivan Tornos for over a decade. We worked at CR Bard before I moved out to the Bay Area to work for Oris. And I'll tell you, I was always impressed with him. He's a driver. He has big vision. And I think what you're going to see from Ivan over the next couple of months, it's just incredible, man. And I'm telling you, like when I came to work for Zimmer, and when I made the decision to say yes to Zimmer, no to the other strategics I was meeting with, and no to the incredible startup companies that I was meeting with as well, and these were well-funded startups, I made a very conscious decision to come to Zimmer. One, because the leadership of Ivan Tornos, literally second to none. The guy is absolutely amazing. And he committed that we're going to be bold in everything that we do. We're going to tackle the markets. We're going to go as hard as we can, and we're going to compete. And so for me, that was very interesting. But, I always lead, Omar, as you know, when we work together, with impact. Like, what can we have? How can we impact? Are we impacting with technology? And I really felt like what Fred was developing and did develop at Oris really changed the pathway for lung cancer. And we saw that. And you have now multiple companies in Intuitive, Noah, and many others that are now sprouting up. Obviously, J&J bought Oris for $6 billion. But you have all of these companies that were impacted by it was impacted with technology, and that was led by Fred. Fred has done that his whole life, and it created just a ripple effect across all of MedTech with what David Schumer's is doing and the impact he's having with technology at 3 of his companies, Josh DeFonso, who was recently on your show, and just many others that we call them the alumni of Oris. And so I looked at that and Akron as ways to impact society with technology. I look at this, and to me, when I really got into it and spent some time with Ivan Tornos and understood his vision for where he wanted to take Zimmer, once I understood that, I had to be a part of it. It's like when I tell people when I left Bard, which I was just having a blast, went back in 2014 to go to Horace. So you can't unsee what you see. And what Yvonne showed me with his vision, with what he's about to do, it was something that I had to be a part of. And I'll tell you this, in my post last week, and I mean it, my mom has 2 Zimmer knees. I saw firsthand how this technology helped her. And I know it extended her life, extended her happiness, enabled her to walk again, and just made her very, very happy. And the ripple effect it had just with our family, with my dad, myself, my siblings, and then my obviously my kids and my nieces and nephews, just having grandma back to normal, Nana, it's wonderful. And so I saw firsthand what this technology can do. Just to take that a step further, I also understand, as you do, the power of and the power that data has for clinicians, and devices should not be dumb. They should provide clinicians and patients with information that helps them get better. And at Akron, we're, as you know, working on machine learning algorithms to predict acute kidney injury. We were highly successful with that data processing and turning it into a breakthrough designation with the FDA at Auris, using that technology, the robotic technology, to go deep in the lung. And I see the same thing with knees, where there's sensors on the knees that are helping clinicians and patients get better faster. That's what we're working towards. And so a world where we use the data to help everyone around the ecosystem push forward the outcomes of the patient. So those were some of the major reasons, Omar, that I considered Zimmer. And just I can't stress how refreshing it is to see a strategic like Zimmer Biomet. It's 100 years old, but with Yvonne Tornis's leadership, we're seeing such amazing things. And I'm telling you, dude, wait for a couple weeks. You're going to see some things that you've never seen in MedTech. So it's super exciting. And I'm excited for what we're about to do. I just cannot wait for it.
I love it. No, I'm really looking forward to that as well. And especially, I think for the vision that I have for our industry in terms of how do we communicate and drive adoption of these technologies, the startups are starting to do it. It's a little bit more difficult to strategics. I always felt that Yvonne was one of a tiny handful that I can point to that at the strategic level are doing that, but it takes more than just one person. So it's exciting to see that he's able to recruit somebody like you over there. And I think at least from what I can see from all the strategics, there's some strategics that have like a really good CEO, storyteller, somebody who's like telling good story digitally to the market, but there's not a strong 2, 3, or 4th leader there that's doing the same. And Zimmer is actually, at least from what I can tell, the very first one. And so I'm excited to see that. When you look at the knee market, I think there's a lot of really competitive sectors in our industry, but I would put knees up there, maybe the most competitive, just because of volume, the level of innovation that's out there and everything. Without maybe sharing too much, how does Zimmer fit into that world to drive sort of this new wave of technology forward and improving on like a really, standard and old technology such as knee implants?
Yeah.
You have DePuy, you have Stryker, you have Smith & Nephew. Yeah. So how do you guys think about that?
Quick commercial break for marketing leaders and sales leaders. I don't have to tell you this, but it's worth reiterating that the time clinicians have to meet with medical reps is limited. You know this and feel this. It's been a challenge for med device sellers for decades. Now, with the rising workloads and patient care demands, clinicians' times are shrinking even more. And the window for your sellers and your sales team to meet with these clinicians consists of pretty much just minutes in a busy hospital hallway. The reality is your sellers have to make every second count or someone else will. They must be concise, they got to be efficient, and use highly relevant information to make the most out of these brief interactions. ShowPad is all about focusing your sellers on the art of selling, which is about building trust and relationships. And while there's science, the ShowPad solution handles the behind-the-scenes prep and follow-up work to make your team more effective. The best part is that you get insights on content and training performance so you can make strategic decisions and invest more in what works based on data. ShowPad helps your sales and marketing teams spend their time in more productive, high-impact ways with a multiplying effect on your revenue results and growing your pipeline. So to learn more, go to showpad.com/State of MedTech. Now, let's get back to the show.
And then you have a lot of great companies that are starting their technology, and they're startup knee companies. So I mean, it's a fascinating world, Omar. And I think in the past, you and I've talked about orthopedics many times, and specifically the knee, I think, is going to be a lot of fun. You know, you have very big, well entrenched competitors that have been doing this quite some time. They have process dialed in, and you know they're running their strategy playbooks, and so is Zimmer. And so I look at this, and I think it's going to be the best strategy wins. And what we're working towards here at Zimmer Knee and Zimmer Biomet is to put together that comprehensive strategy that helps the clinician. And I learned no less than 100 times last week. I heard the term customer-centric innovation, and it's putting the customer and the patient and the hospital, the ASC, wherever the procedure's done, at the center of all of the thinking that we have. And a lot of times with strategics, it's done at the corporate headquarters. And that was the beauty and what I loved about being in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area, where you're at the very tip of the spear from an innovation standpoint, and you're working with the best physicians from around the planet always. And so I feel like Zimmer has a mentality of focusing on the problem and relentlessly approaching it. Not that the other strategics don't. It's just I saw it firsthand. I'm week 2, so new guy, can't really get deep into it, but they're living it so far, and everything they said has come true. So I think with the innovation, what we're going to start to see is for Zimmer, we have a ton of stuff that's about to hit from the R&D pipeline. I shared just a teeny bit, not on which products, but just a little bit last week with the R&D lab that we did with some of the top surgeons in the world. And I think it's going to be fun. Competition raises the bar for everybody, and the people that benefit are the patients and people like my mom. They have 2 knees, and so we walk down the hall here, Omar, and it's design this as if it's for your family member. You know, to me, I love seeing stuff like that. I love when a company lives its ethos. So to me, that's what's so exciting about being here.
That does sound really exciting. And something I want to go back to, and again, I know there's going to be more things that are going to become more public in the coming weeks, so we can't talk about it here, but the best that you can share. So if we look at like some of the earnings in the past, so for the knee division alone, at least from the last earnings call, so we have about $800 million in revenue. There's like a 3.9% increase over the last year, right? 5.5% on a constant currency basis. I mentioned that because a little bit of growth, not a whole lot. And I'm wondering, what were the main reasons you felt that you were specifically recruited as the president of the knee division? What are some of the marching orders that you have in terms of getting up to speed this quarter, and then, of course, launching with a lot of momentum into 2025?
Yeah, great question, Omar. So basically, there was they're taking one division and splitting it into 2 to create intense focus. And so before it was called the Recon division, and now it is, I'm going to be running the knee division, and I have a counterpart, Lou Galreo, who will be running the hip division. And he's coming from a different division of Zimmer Biomet. He's coming from the trauma, where I think he has 15 years, fantastic guy, great leadership, very well respected in the organization. He's coming in to lead the hip, and it's just going to be an incredibly intense focus on customer-centric innovation. And Yvonne makes it clear every one of the meetings, every one of the calls, every one of the emails, put the customer first in the center of all conversations, focus on the patient, and impact both of them when we have our problem solving sessions. That's number one. Two, be bold. And when he says be bold, what he's saying is in everything, be bold and make good decisions, protect, the integrity of the company and make sure that we're always doing the right thing. But be bold with how we think and be bold with how we approach problems, and don't be afraid to take chances. And what you're going to see, Omar, is just, I think in the next 90 days, you're going to love it. I know you, Omar Khatib, will love it. You'll send me a text message. I know you will. The second you see it, it's just so cool. And, I think what you're going to see is Yvonne's vision is now unfolding, and it's just going to be a very special time at Zimmer Biomet. I see this, and I've had a lot of conversations with some people that that are extremely talented, where we're going to see if we can pull them into Zimmer Biomet too, and have a great growth story over the next decade with this company, decade plus. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing. On that same topic, so something I want to point out that's in, at least from what I can tell, very unique to Zimmer compared to, I don't really see this from the other strategics, is that I believe, was it earlier this year? I think, earlier this year, Zimmer entered into a partnership with Think Surgical, where Think has the T-Mini, which is the first handheld robot for total knee arthroscopy or arthroplasty, I'm sorry. And the idea is essentially partnering their support to support the ROSA robotics platform. So I thought that was very interesting. Do you guys see that as a strategy moving forward into 2025, which is identifying really innovative startup companies, and rather than doing sort of the old playbook of, acquiring them and bolting them onto your existing technology, which sounds good, but it's a very messy, complicated thing. The partnership strategy seems to really be a really good one. Is that something that is under your consideration moving into 2025?
Yeah. So we have two. So keep that in mind. So
we got it.
But here's the deal. I can tell you what I know, not what I think. I know that Yvonne in the past has said that we have a strategy of and. We want to provide the customer with options so they can make their decision. And we want to make sure that we're highly competitive in the market, that we're providing the tools that are necessary depending on the situation. So when you're in the ASC, you might have something that's very different as far as needs go than in an operating room setting, and everything in between. Where it makes sense, the company will do distribution deals, it will do partnerships. We look at everything, and I could tell you that that's what I know. We've had a number of those conversations, and I think you're going to see, as Yvonne has pointed out in the past, that on earnings calls that we have a very good balance sheet, and that they're going to put that to work if the right target comes up. We're in a position to do that. So I think everything depends on the situation. As you know, it's multifactorial. We just need to make sure that we're evaluating it and doing the best thing for Zimmer Biomet, for the people that are involved in the other companies as well. And that's how we're moving forward.
What do you feel, after leaving a place like Acuren, Acuren, Oris, again, really exciting early stage companies. I think part of your career is like not necessarily the product and people that you're working with, but the problem you have to solve. So what about the current knee market? What are the current problems with the current market and knees? What problems need to be solved? What about that attracted you, and what kind of stood out?
Yeah, I think it's that, when I was doing my diligence and I would just call some of my orthopedic surgeon friends and just get their opinion. It seems like it's still evolving. There's no perfect solution. There's good solutions and great solutions, but there's not something that's I think there's a lot of room for innovation. And I And I think I know you're going to see it with Zimmer. I assume we're going to see it in the market, but I know you're going to see it with Zimmer. We're looking at just all the different components from when, the patient life cycle, just making sure people like my mom, when they get their knee, that they're going to be taken care of over the course of their life, because these are implanted in their body. So I think with smart sensors and being able to provide the clinician and the patient with information, I think that's a huge area for opportunity. I also think that there's going to be some tremendous innovation with machine learning and data processing and looking at how we improve that. I think you're going to see a lot of innovation around robotics. It's just the nature of robotics, and you've seen it with Intuitive, and now we're starting to see a number of robots. I think today, as recently as today, Distal Motion announced they have 510K FDA approval, which is fantastic. Now you have another competitor in the market. Competition raises the bar. It drives innovation. So for me, I look at the entire ecosystem surrounding the large joint reconstruction, so the knee. I look at the way that we can help patients. I look at the way that we can process data, how we can help the physician and the ASCs, as an example, with their efficiency. So it's basically everything, man. Everything that's surrounding that knee. That's my only focus right now. The global knee division.
Yeah. On that note, I'm wondering what your take would be on this. So, like, when I think about robotics, like, two things specifically come to mind, actually. One is, of course, like soft tissue robotics, like the Da Vinci system. And the other one is more on the orthopedic side. Because I think if you look at surgical robotics as a whole, robotic knee surgery has been around almost as long as like soft tissue surgery. Yet, in soft tissue, you have like one extremely dominant company being Intuitive, who legally they don't have a monopoly, but as close to one as you can possibly have, right? But in the knee side, it seems to be like very fragmented. Like there doesn't seem to be like, I guess Stryker's Mako's has a decent amount of market share, but there's still a lot of surgeons I know or I've seen who use other modalities. And I'm wondering, why is it just me, or do you feel that the knee market is pretty fragmented in terms of adoption of technology, and there's not really one clear go-to owner of it?
It's interesting, man. And again, through my experience of doing the diligence and coming in and meeting with surgeons, I set a goal for myself to be in 100 surgeries in 100 days and run the division. So
you can do 100 surgeries in 100 days?
100 surgeries in 100 days.
There's somebody who can do that. It's Joe Urban. So I love it.
I'm going to do it. I have my first set of my block next week that starts. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure we run the division appropriately, but I want to be in the field meeting with as many people as I can.
You love that though, right? Because you love with salespeople.
I love it, man. And I love that. And I love being with engineers, and it's so cool to be with an engineer and to learn something new. They teach you something like every single day. And I try to challenge them, and, like here, it's really good to see the engineering team here, and it's refreshing. We have great engineers at Oris and at Akron, and it feels like we have very talented engineers here. So I'm super excited just working with these guys, but also I want to get into these high volume centers and get to know and understand it. So back to your question on robotics, Intuitive had a pretty good head start. They had a lot of very fantastic intellectual property that surrounded the draping of the patient, articulating wrist and everything along those lines, and created somewhat of a patent moat, if you will. And then what you saw over the course of the last 5 years is now you're starting to see more and more soft tissue robotics come out, and flexible robotics, catheter-based robotics. It's just, I think we're seeing the evolution on that side. I think without getting into detail, there's going to be a number of innovations on the robotics side here. I think you're going to see a number of innovations around sensor-based technology. And, one can imagine what that means for the doctor, the clinicians in the room, the patients, and the facility, whether it's the hospital or the ASC. I think the difference here, Omar, there's guys that can do a total knee in under 30 minutes now. Like, that's insane. I remember 20 years ago, it was hours for a procedure. So it's kind of fun to see that innovation. But just watch on the robotics without getting into too much detail.
Sure. And, again, like that's another example of, at least one of the things when I think of Zimmer is that on the innovation side, like I think there's a lot of business model innovation. And so again, like some of the old models would be like just, you acquire tuck-in technologies to your core. But the other side is I think there's more unique ways of partnership. So I mentioned that Zimmer has that partnership with Think Surgical on their Team Mini robot. On the digital side, and actually I had their founder and CEO on the show, Bill Hunter. So like Zimmer's also partnered with Canary Medical for digitizing implants and monitoring them and everything. So I think it's exciting to see a strategic have that model, right? Because I think that in the past, or at least currently with a lot of startups see strategics as either they're going to lead our round and then acquire us, or they're just going to outright acquire us, versus I think there's some more innovative ways for companies like a Zimmer Biomet to partner with startups and enhance their product offering while also furthering that startup, right? And so I'm saying that to say that I hope to see you guys at LSI Data Point next year. So hopefully we'll get you there. A lot of really good startups there. Do you guys, I know.
I'll put you up to that.
Yeah.
LSI.
No, that's me personally. Me personally. Scott and I have this unspoken agreement, which is like I just personally have to make sure that I get like all the great minds in medtech to go to LSI. Do you guys, is that part, again, I know you're 2 weeks into the job, but have you thought about that next year in terms of doing a little bit of a roadshow and like what conferences you want to attend to sort of have your pulse on what's going on?
Yeah, we have a team that goes to LSI. It's so
I think Matthew Shop, is it Matthew Shop there? Yeah.
Call with him this morning.
He's awesome. He's a hell of a golfer. He was
basically with him. He's a great guy. Love him.
He's a great guy. Yeah, he was on my scramble team at LSI last year. We got second place. We crushed it.
That's great. So here's the thing, man. I'll tell you, you're going to see, if for your audience, if you're not following Yvonne Tornos, the CEO of Zimmer, do it. You'll love it, and you'll see exactly what's happening. You're going to see what it's like when a CEO leads from the front, tip of the spear, and is on the front lines. And the reason I think that's so critical is, I'm a combat veteran, as you know, Omar, and I've seen two types of generals: the type of general that is way in the back and doesn't really do anything, and then special forces, former special forces. You're always special forces, but special forces ranger that's at the very tip, who's on missions, who wants to make sure that the tip of the spear is, pushing out and they're leading the charge. Like guys like that, that's Yvonne Tornos. And so if you're not following Yvonne Tornos, you'll do yourself a favor, follow him, follow Zimmer Biomet, and just see what we're doing. I mean, it's
totally
a lot of fun.
And I want to bring it up just so that people understand, like why I see what you see, but let's see here. Here we go. So I'm going to bring up. Let me know when you see Yvonne's LinkedIn newsfeed. Do you see it?
Yep.
Yeah. So like, I'm going to just scroll through and just show the audience like what these posts are. There are a variety of posts, of course, some Zimmer content, but a lot of these posts, like when I see it, I can tell like he actually wrote this, right?
I'm telling you,
it's
like next to him when he's writing it. Like
it's not like I can tell. Yeah, and I can, because like I can tell. So again, here he is, like he's resharing Bill's thing, which is a partner, because Canary Medical is a partner of theirs, right? He's literally on the road constantly.
I think he spent close to 300 nights on the road last week.
Yeah, and I remember noticing that because like right away when he took over, he was just on the road and he was taking a lot of photos and storytelling. I remember thinking, I'm like, man, this guy's like really active,
It's amazing.
And it was really inspiring to see, like, even here, like, look at this, him and Cristiano Ronaldo, like, that's pretty impressive. When do you see that? Yeah. But I think to your point, like, again, he's leading from the front, and more importantly, like, there's this concept of being founder led. Again, he's not the founder of Zimmer, but he's treating it like it is his company. He's leading it in terms of storytelling, not only to the market, potential employees, surgeons, etc., like the inner workings of Zimmer, how they're thinking about things, the partnerships, all this kind of stuff, versus what a lot of CEOs I feel do, for better or worse, is that they do all these things in a very sterile environment, being the earnings call. And nobody goes, very few people listen to the earnings call, let alone read the transcripts, versus this is like a constant living, breathing journal of like, here are the things that are going on with Zimmer. Zimmer got back on my radar last year, the moment he took over, and I started seeing more from them, because it's a noisy world. Like, there's so many, I cover this for a living, but like there's so many companies that I have to kind of keep track of and everything. And Zimmer is one of them, mainly because Ivan Tordos is constantly telling the story of innovation and what's being done.
He's always in the field with employees, with doctors, with investors. He's constantly sharing our vision, his vision for how we're going to push this forward and be the boldest medtech company, not just the boldest orthopedic company, the boldest medtech company.
And this, look,
watch what you see, Omar. He is a man of his word, and you're going to see it.
I believe it. Look, this episode's a testament to that, because like, look, we're recording this literally 1 week after you announced, and you and I were texting, and I'm like, hey, you should come on the show. You let Ivan know. He's like, yeah, totally, do it. And you're on here right now. Versus there's a lot of other companies where they want to send somebody on the show, and it takes months, and they go back and forth with me. And then eventually I'm just like, there's no point of covering any news around you guys, because it's been like a month or two,
Trust in your leaders, like that's the thing. Like, trust that you, like, I've done this. I know what, it's just, you have to be smart with what you say and what you don't say. And that's, I think, a concern that a number of companies have. And it doesn't mean you're reckless. It's just that you're authentic, and you talk about things that enable you to tell the story of the company. And what Ivan is doing is he's doing that on a daily basis. So it was, he told me, I'll be traveling all over the world for this role, spending a significant amount of time on the road. And he made it clear, my expectations are that you're meeting with customers, you're leading your team, and leading it, meaning that you're in front of your team. You're not doing it via Zoom unless you're on the road meeting with a customer. And so, I look at this and I see it as something that is inspiring. It's not the once a quarter picture in front of a customer that you see, like you were saying, that other large strategic CEOs that I've seen do. It's unique and authentic leadership, and that's what we have to permeate throughout the organization. And the good news is Zimmer's filled with leaders that so far I'm super impressed with. So it's just right now, to me, this is a growth story. It was over the last couple of years, they were getting their footing. Ivan took over, and I'm telling you, Omar, it is full, all out growth story from this moment forward, winning and the will to win. That is 100% the way that Ivan is driving this.
Yeah. No,
you're going to see it, Omar. I guarantee it. I think with the knee division, you notice like how I did the podcast with the global knees and the Zimmer, so we could get a little shout out to everybody, and hopefully virtually high five all the Zimmer Biomet sales people that are working.
Maybe get invited to Warsaw. I've never been to Indiana.
What's that?
I've never been to Indiana. I need to get an invite to Warsaw, man. I've never been there.
I'm inviting you. Come on out.
Let's do it. I love it.
Come on out. And you know what's interesting? They were telling me the history of. I was like, why Warsaw? That's like an interesting thing. Is because when it started, it was proximity to steel, and 120 years ago, and there were railroads that went in every direction, and so just a fascinating story. So, Omar, you're doing a wonderful job. I enjoy watching your show. It's fun to see your success, and I hope you keep pushing as hard as you are.
I appreciate it, man. So as we kind of wrap up, and again, I appreciate you coming on the show. So first 100 cases in 100 days. I know you're very
put it out there, so I have to do it now.
Yeah, it's public now. But aside from that, you and I we bonded a lot over this concept of like, setting goals and visualizing and achieving them and everything.
Yeah.
What other things are you looking to accomplish for yourself and your team within 2024 that you'd like to publicly declare now, so that way you can be held accountable for it?
Yeah, thanks, Omar. I appreciate that. So first of all, for 2024, what's that? You're here with me?
Yeah, I believe.
For 2024, we have really just 2 months left. For me, it's getting in the field. It's virtually spending every night outside of Thanksgiving and Christmas on the road, whether it's here in Warsaw or it's meeting with the customer, but it's focusing on driving this market as hard as we can around the world. Okay. Winning, and the will to win. And so that is 100% my focus right now. Next year, it's taking this great team that we have in global knees, and it's pushing the innovation into the market. Our R&D pipeline is jam-packed, and now it's coming to that. You remember this, like at Oris, like from hearing those stories, and then also at Akron, you get to a point where everything that the team's been working so hard on, it's now towards the end of the innovation. So we're going to start to see over the next 6, 12, 24, 36 months, innovation come out. You're going to start to see efficiencies and value, like just the market, as far as like the different places where we do the procedure, whether it's the hospital or the ASC, just efficiencies. And we're doing the American Association of Hip and Knee Surgeons is next week in Dallas, and there's a presentation on ASC efficiencies. These guys are, Omar, it's so incredible how fast they can do a total knee and how many they could do in a day. And I think that's going to be revolutionary. So a lot of opportunity there. So for me in 2025, my focus is going to be on leading this great team and growing the market, getting the innovation into the field. And then, as Yvonne says, being bold. And I think it's taking the boldness that we have to be the boldest medtech company in medtech, and it's turning it into velocity. And that's what we'll do next year.
I love it. Well, I'm really excited about it. Congratulations to you, Yvonne, and the team are lucky to have you as a leader. And I'm looking forward to having you back on the show. Maybe both you and Yvonne on the show at the same.
Listen, Yvonne is like a force, so I can't be on the same. Like I would just be holding his bag. He's a ball of energy. So
we got to make it happen.
Capture that. I'm thankful that you are my friend. So we've had almost a decade of friendship and connection. So
I know, isn't that wild?
It's insane, and I'm thankful for it. So
it's the same here, man.
My gratitude.
No, same here. I'm grateful for the friendship and the brotherhood, and super excited for you. And can't wait to see you guys just tear it up, man. So
this thing's growing huge.
He is huge.
Yeah, football player, huh?
He's massive. Oh my God, I need to make. If we have another kid like him, I got to make more money to feed them. Well, Joe, thanks for coming on the show. And that being said, if you're listening to the episode, be sure 3 things: go give Yvonne Tornos a follow on LinkedIn, follow Joe Urban, and follow Zimmer Biomet. That being said,
watch what the knee division.
We're gonna watch the knee division, man. We're gonna watch it. All right, everybody.
All right,
Take
thanks,
care.
Omar.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
See ya.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for checking out this episode. If you want to do me a big favor and join so many other people who have helped grow this podcast, take a second and look below. If you're on Apple, give us 5 stars and write a short review. If you're on Spotify, just give us 5 stars. And if you're on YouTube, hit the like button. And most importantly, if you can, subscribe. We release so many different episodes that you may miss. Be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on. You get extra points with me if you subscribe across all 3 channels. Thank you so much. And if you felt like this episode helped you, send this to somebody who'd really enjoy and appreciate it. Share and spread the love. We'll see you all next time.